Welcome to Timeout. Never forget, don't call a timeout unless you have one. With Justin, with Coach Zai. Let's get right into it. So, earlier today, the Oakland Raiders came out and said that their general manager, Reggie McKenzie, after 6 seasons, is gone. He's fired. What are your thoughts?
Well, McKenzie's been around since 2012. He's done some good things. He got Mack in there. He got Carr in there. He just signed, obviously, well, not signed, but he got Mari Cooper in there. So he's got some good players. And in 2016, had a great season, 12-4, tied for the AFC West, and it looked like it was trending in the right direction. And then a snowball effect. 2017, they were 6-10, had a down year. We find out that the team is moving to Vegas. We find out that Gruden is coming out of the booth and going to sign this big 10-year contract. So with this firing, basically tells me that they're going in one direction, and there's no plan B, and that direction is Jon Gruden. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that basket is Jon Gruden's. So not only does Gruden control what's going on the field, but now the front office too. And McKenzie did some good things too. In 2016, he was executive of the year. But I think with Oakland Raiders and Jon Gruden, it's his way or the highway now, and they made it really transparent. I don't know if it's the right move, but Gruden is a Super Bowl champion, so we'll see if it pans out for him. I don't know how I really feel about it. I don't know if McKenzie deserves it, but they probably could see it coming, so might as well just do it now than wait till the season's over with.
I think it's a little surprising he didn't finish the year. Just it's so late in the game, it doesn't even matter now. But I think that's one thing. But he's 39-70 as the GM for the Raiders. It's a pretty poor record. He did draft a couple guys, made a couple good moves, but I think once Gruden got there, it's all about Gruden. And if they're not seeing eye to eye, it's probably the best thing for the Raiders. So, it's really going to come down to Gruden. He's either going to fix the Raiders or it's going to be a ship that sinks fast. So, it's all on Jon Gruden now. He's traded away some players. He's made the moves he wants. He gets the draft pick. So, about year 5, we're going to find out how good Jon Gruden really is.
Agreed. I honestly think, this first year, nobody saw the Raiders being 3-10 where they are now. A lot of people wanted them to, just like that, go out, start winning games. But then come week 3, week 4, they're 1-3, 1-4. Everybody's like, what is happening here? And come to find out, Gruden is wanting to rebuild the team, trading Khalil Mack, traded Amari Cooper, and I don't know. There's a lot with this Raiders thing that's more than meets the eye. Where could there have been arguments between Reggie and Jon Gruden? Could Mark Davis have somehow been involved? Not a lot of people know with that, but what I do know is that Uncle Reggie did a lot of good things for the Raiders in his 6 years being there, and to me, he didn't get a lot of credit for what was happening. A lot of people decided to give it to Jack Del Rio and gave it to Mark Davis, but I think Reggie McKenzie was a very underrated executive, and when he finally got his executive of the year, I think that finally put him on the map, especially coming from Green Bay, where a lot of things went right there.
And I'm sure he'll get another opportunity down the road. He just signed an extension not too long ago through 2021, so that's the funny thing about it too. But the whole persona of Gruden and the pressure, it's going to grow immensely. So if he doesn't get his stuff together by year 4 or 5, it's going to be a tight ship, and there's going to be a lot of fire under Gruden's hot seat.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely think McKenzie's going to get another shot somewhere. He deserves it. But just sometimes doesn't work out. And with Gruden coming in, I know early I had an interview and he said he was going to agree with him and Gruden were on the same page and stuff like that. But, Gruden wanted to trade guys that he brought in, he drafted. So, I'm sure they've got into it a couple of times. And like I said, 39-70 as a GM, you're getting to the borderline where it's time to start winning some games. And so, if there's any tension, they might as well part ways because you don't want Gruden, as an owner, I don't want Gruden to have any excuses of why his theory didn't work. You're all in with him. Let's see what you got.
But 39-70, though, it could be a little skewed because look how where he took over the team. I mean, the Raiders has been, no offense, Jake, bad for a long time.
Oh, I
So
know.
McKenzie came in trying to bring it back to the early 2000s era to where the Raiders, were something. So those first couple seasons, they're absolutely garbage, and he took over a garbage team. But like I said, in 2016, he had Derek Carr, had a great season before he got injured. Raiders, they were on the upcoming. But then a snowball effect happened, and before you know it, he's out of a job.
I agree. If Jon Gruden's 39-70 after 109 games, he's getting fired too.
Well, yeah, there's a little more control at least wins and losses, I feel like, with the head coach, because they can make coaching adjustments. You only can do so much in the front office as far as wins and losses go.
Yeah, Gruden's been a big part in this rebuild. I think back in the early 2000s, he tried to do it this way and bring his own guys in, but Al Davis didn't let him do it. And then when that tuck rule game happened, Jon wanted to bring his own guys in, but again, Al didn't necessarily like that because Al was one of those guys where, he wanted to be the face of the team. He didn't want Gruden to be the face of his team. Al wanted it to be, his team, and he wanted to do it his way. So I think partly that trade to Tampa was part of that. But now that his son Mark Davis sees that, Gruden's going to do it his way, and yeah, you might have a couple rough seasons. Next year I don't think will be much better. They could win 6-7 games, but I think by year 3 and year 4, Gruden will get it turned around. But who knows if the Raiders will have a GM, if Gruden will be the coach GM like Belichick is, or if they will bring somebody in.
That's a good point. I think that they'll bring somebody in, but at this point, I think it's on paper that Gruden's running the show, and the owner's has given him, the keys to the car and said, we're following you. So, but, the Raiders they're far behind, but it's going to come down to those draft picks. They got a ton of draft picks the next couple of years. Gruden's going to have to make some good decisions there. And, they also, as Derek Carr franchise quarterback, that's probably, that's going to be a decision he's going to have to make real soon, whether you're building a team around him or you're going to move him and build a team around, basically start all over and build a team around somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's a really big decision for Gruden because Carr's position right now, he does look like a franchise quarterback. But so do you keep him or do you try to give him away and get assets to come in to Oakland? So that would be a very interesting move forward. But I think I personally, with Derek Carr, the season he had in 2016 shows that he can be a elite quarterback. So me personally, I would keep Derek Carr.
I would too. And I mean, in 3 years, personally, if Derek Carr or Jon Gruden doesn't get it done, the way Jon Gruden's been, it's my way or the highway. I think you could see Derek Carr, New York or Jacksonville, if he doesn't get it done in 3 years. I know because I think in 3 years his contract, that mega deal that he had signed, will be up. So, he'll be looking for a new contract, and if the Raiders are still sucking, then probably it's time to get rid of him too, and possibly some other pieces. But who knows, again, if Gruden will be the GM or if somebody else will do it or if Mark Davis will do what Al did and completely take over the team and be on the same page with Jon.
Absolutely.
You're either all in or you're out. That's what Gruden has shown, and I think that's what Reggie McKenzie. I don't know if Reggie McKenzie really wanted the all in or all out. He still wanted to build around the guys that he had from a few years ago, but Gruden said, it's my team, it's my time, and we're going to start a new era with the Raiders here. And I don't know if Reggie necessarily agreed with that.
I agree.
All right, that wraps up our segment on Reggie McKenzie, and next we're going to do the AP basketball poll.